Hello, I want to talk to you today about editing books. I've talked quite a lot on here about writing books. I thought I'd say something about editing books, which is, I'm not talking about the kind of editing where you go through the text line by line and make corrections. I'm talking about where you commission chapters from different people to make a whole book with chapters with different authors. This is a really good opportunity to add value to the literature. Some topics really merit an edited collection rather than an authored book. And it also has potential to add value to your career, but there is a whole chunk of work to be done. I've edited 4 books now and I'm working on 2 more. The ones I've edited I did with my colleague Su Ming Koo from the National University of Ireland, and we edited 3 rapid ebooks in 2020 on researching in the age of COVID-19 to find out about the methods that researchers were using around the world and get those published super fast, so that other researchers could use them and learn from them while the pandemic was still very much at its height. And we also produced a print book a year later called Qualitative and Digital Research in Times of Crisis, which is wider than just the pandemic, although some chapters, of course, are pandemic focused, and which has a really useful collection of information that no one author could have written, because as well as the pandemic, it also covers disasters and conflicts, post-conflict, all of these kinds of things. And nobody can gain expertise in all of those different contexts. So I'm now editing 2 more books. One I'm doing with 2 colleagues, so there are 3 of us working as co-editors, and one I'm doing by myself. Editing a book is not as difficult as writing a whole book, but it is still a lot of work. You need good networks if you want to edit a book, because you need to know people who you can ask, will you write a chapter for my book? You might know people who you want a particular subject from, or you might just know people who you want to ask to write a chapter on whatever they like. Either is fine. Social media is a big help because you can put out a public call for chapters if you want to. You may get inundated or you may get a tiny number of responses. You don't know until you try. But either way, if you're going to edit a book, you do need to be really well organised, because it's like herding sheep, or something even worse than that, which I can't think of right now. But you do need to be very clear and have spreadsheets or lists and dates and keep track of everything. And you need to be prepared to deal with an awful lot of emails, because that's the other thing. You will get emails from contributors, emails from your publisher, emails from your co-editor or co-editors if you're working with co-editors, and you will have a shed load of emails, and you need to be able to deal with that. The first time you edit a book, it's helpful to work with someone else if you can, for a number of reasons. 2 or more heads are always better than 1. You'll have better ideas. You will need to write some of the book, probably an introductory chapter, a concluding chapter perhaps, unless you commission those from other people, but probably you will want to write at least one of those yourselves. And again, having 2 of you on it, unless you know the subject extremely well, having 2 of you on it will be very useful, or more than 2. And also, if you need to reject someone's proposal or someone's chapter, that's easier for people to accept if it comes from us, if it's we have read this and we think, rather than I have read it and I think, when it can feel a bit personal. If you want to work on your own, or you have to work on your own to edit a book, then work more closely with your commissioning editor at your publishers, who can help you with these kinds of tasks, give you feedback on an introductory chapter, help you deliver bad news as us, not just you. Editing an academic book is a long-term project. First, you need to write a proposal, and you need to have your chapter proposals for that so that they're included in the proposal for the edited collection. So that takes a serious chunk of time. Then that goes for peer review, which will take some months. And then you may have to make some revisions to the proposal, which may involve liaising with contributors. And then it goes to the committee at the publishers, and they accept it. And then your contributors will start writing, and you'll need to give them somewhere between 3 and 6 months, certainly 4 or 5, that kind of length of time. Also, depending what time of year it is. If that falls over a holiday period, you may need to make it longer to allow for that. Then when the manuscript is pulled together, you'll be writing your own introductory and perhaps concluding chapters. Then the whole manuscript again goes for peer review, so that's a few more months for that. And then the chapters go back to their authors with the peer reviewers' comments for revision, and you revise your own sections, pull it all together again. Then it goes into production, and then after another 6 to 12 months, it actually is finished and available for sale. So you need to set realistic timescales and be prepared to take on a long-term project. You also need to be prepared for delays, for problems, for unforeseen circumstances. I hope there won't be another global pandemic anytime soon, but these things happen. The climate crisis is causing all sorts of difficulties. Your contributors will have problems in their lives that hold them up. They'll have, perhaps illnesses or pregnancy or any sort of life event that can need to put things on hold for a while. But it is possible to edit books, and it is possible to edit them well. And when the final product actually arrives, that is very satisfying, and it really is time then to celebrate your work and your success.